All right, hi everyone, and welcome to this week's product training with Blue Triangle. Today we're going to talk about the custom reports and data science module in the Blue Triangle portal. With this module, you can build reports that don't exist anywhere else in Blue Triangle, which is one of the reasons why it's such a powerful tool. Custom reports give you the ability to gain deeper insight into your data and ultimately better understand what's happening on your site. So today we're going to cover everything you need to know to get started creating your own custom reports in Blue Triangle. All right, so my name is Mark and I'm the support manager here at Blue Triangle, and we do these training sessions each week about various topics related to web performance, analytics, and ultimately how to use Blue Triangle to solve problems. So let's go ahead and get started. As far as the agenda today, obviously we're covering the custom reports and data science module. So we're going to start with how to build a basic custom report. We'll also go through how you can save that report for analysis later on down in the future. You can also save that custom report as a dashboard widget, and you can watch how that data trends over time in the dashboard. You can also add comparisons. You can add a comparison graph, and you can add a comparison line, and we'll walk through. There's some differences between those, obviously, and we'll walk through each one and you'll see how that works. So obviously you can look at your RUM or synthetic data, and as far as what kind of graphs you can build, there's a line graph, a scatter plot, and a histogram. So those are the three options, and we'll walk through an example of each one. And finally, there's a new feature we recently added, which is the ability to group by multiple lengths. So we'll show you how that works toward the end as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up Blue Triangle and we'll get started. All right, so here we are in the Blue Triangle portal, and we're on the custom reports and data science module. You can get there by clicking the atom icon here in the left-hand navigation menu. And really, there's only one option when you get here, and we're going to go ahead and create a new custom graph. So we're going to click this button here and just walk through a basic setup. So you can follow along if you'd like. It'll be pretty straightforward, the first one that we do. So you're presented with the option to choose real user data or synthetic data. For this example, we'll use real user data, and we'll choose a line graph for this one. Now, the next set of configurations will have the time period. The default is the last 24 hours. You're able to change that to any of the options listed here. You can choose a custom range. You can go through and choose the dates like this, but we'll just keep it as the last 24 hours. The next, really the key configuration here is going to be how you're going to group the data. So we're just going to group it by the displayed metric, and that means we're going to choose one or more of these options here to group the data. So we're going to group by essentially time. We're going to be grouping by time and displaying on load. So I'm going to go ahead and click go, and we're going to build a report. All right, so there we go. Here you can see the line graph is the last 24 hours for all pages and all traffic segments, because we didn't do any additional filtering. I'll show you how to do that. We get this data in a graph as well as a table. You can just flip to that up here. You can export the table to CSV here if you'd like. You can also do a handful of cool things with the options over here. I won't get into the weeds with that. You can export it as a PDF, a JPEG, or a PNG image. You can also toggle the event markers and some other things. But so down below, you'll actually see averages in this case. So we'll see on load is 1.69 seconds over this time period for all pages and all traffic segments. All right, so let me show you how to save this graph for future analysis. You can actually just click this green button up here, and we'll save this as demo analysis 1. And you can save it as analysis, which means you'll be able to choose it from a list in the future when you come into the data science module and look at it again just with the click of a button. Or you can save it as a dashboard widget. So let's save as analysis first. And I'll show you how to access that. So there's this load saved analysis button up here. And that is where you'll be able to find your saved analysis. So we have our demo analysis 1 here. And you can just hit view here. You can also delete this, and it'll show you what kind of graph it is. Another thing is the load saved analysis. Now that we do have some saved analysis, that will appear as the second option when you first get to the page. So we'll be able to click here and load this if we'd like. But I'm going to go ahead and create another graph really quick, and we'll show you how to save it as a dashboard widget. So we'll just create the same thing. We're going to save the graph demo analysis 2. So we're going to save it as a dashboard widget this time. So if you read the message, it says this widget can be found in the custom analytics and trending dashboard. So you can either click this link and that'll take you right to the dashboard, or I can show you it will. I'm going to show you how to get there manually as well. If you go to the dashboard and you go down in the pre-configured section, there's this custom analytics and trending. I actually have another graph on here. Let me just get rid of that. But as you can see, we have our demo analysis 2 here, and this is a real-time dashboard. So we'll get updates every 5 minutes. In this case, we're looking at the last 3 hours. So pretty cool functionality there. Let's see. The next thing I wanted to cover is how to add comparisons. So before we do that, let me show you how you can edit the graph here. So you can edit the graph with the wizard, or you can click on the filter icon up here in the top right, and that will also bring down the options to edit the graph, as well as the filters. So here we can see the data type is real user line graph. We get the time period, how the data is grouped, and then below that is all of the various filter options that we know and love from other areas of Blue Triangle. So what I'm going to do is go down to page name, and for this example, we're going to compare the home page to the category page, for example. So I'm going to update this to show us data only for the home page. I'm going to go back up here and click Apply Filters. So now we have the data for the home page. What we can do now is add a comparison graph. And let's say we want to compare the category page. So that's what that would look like. For each, you still get a table of the data. And the averages down below. So it looks like the home page is a bit faster than the category page over the last 24 hours. So one thing you can always do to kind of refresh the page here is just kind of start fresh. You can reload the page. All right, so that's how you add a comparison graph. The next thing we'll do is add a comparison line. So in this case, we're going to compare, we'll leave all of these things the same. We'll say we'll compare the 13th all day. We'll set this up for the 13th on load. If you click next, I don't think we've touched on this yet, but in the wizard, the final page is the filter configuration, and this is where you'd be able to choose the page name or device or any of these other filter options. So home page, we're going to leave it like that. So to add a comparison line, this is going to be overlaid on the same graph. You can go up into the filters, and you'll see this button here. So you're just going to click that, and what you'll be able to do is compare another time period. So by default, it chose the prior day. So you could choose any other day here, but it's going to force you to choose the same length of time. That way the x-axis is going to match up, right? We'll choose the 12th, and all you do is just add line to graph. So here we can see our onload from our onload originally, which is the 13th. And then we can see the onload for the 12th here in blue. And you can compare each of those on the same graph here. So pretty cool. All right, so that's how to do a comparison line and a comparison graph. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the scatter plot. The scatter plot and the histogram. So I'm going to refresh the page here. We're going to start fresh. We're going to open up a new custom graph. For the scatter plot, we're going to choose synthetic. We're going to choose a scatter plot. So the configuration for the scatter plot is essentially what's the x-axis and what's the y-axis. Now, a very interesting analysis that we found is doing a performance on the x-axis. We'll choose onload in this case, and element count on the y-axis. You can also choose how to order it. Obviously, we're going to choose it the x-axis lowest to highest. That would be onload. So we're going to click go. And it looks like we don't see any other really variation in the number of elements on the page. So this may not have been that great of an example, but what I can do is zoom in on this area. They're all around 270-ish, 76, 77, 78. So really surprising actually how consistent that is. Another cool thing you can do here is click on the scatterplot point, and if you're looking at synthetic data, that's going to open up the details down here below that you would find typically on the synthetic performance detail page or the test results, right? So for this particular measurement, we can see the function tracing and HAR file, the screenshot and film strip. All right, so that is the scatter plot. The next one we'll talk about is the histogram. So we're going to go through the wizard here. We'll go back to real user data, histogram. We'll leave the time period on the 13th. And we're just going to keep this one simple, so we're going to group lines by the displayed metric. And in that case, we're going to choose, let's say, sessions and conversion rate. All right, so the x-axis will be onload. You could also choose TTI, LCP, FID. Let's choose TTI. So as you can see farther out to the right, there's kind of some noise going on. So you can filter that out by using this trim functionality. So let's say we want to trim it at 0.5 seconds TTI, and we can trim it at let's say 20 seconds on the right side, just to give yourself a cleaner looking graph. All right, so that's how you would do that. Now you can also go ahead and group these lines, and that gets a little more involved, but certainly play around with that and see how you like it. As always, the filter options are available down here for you with the histogram as well. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was multiple group bys. So what does that mean? Let's walk through that together. So we're going to start with a new custom graph. We'll go real user line graph, and we're going to group the lines by device. And then you're going to be presented with this option to add a subgroup, and we're going to say yes, and we're going to subgroup the devices by, let's see here, browser. All right, and the performance metric we're going to look at, let's say we just want to look at page views. So we'll go down to the little business section, choose page views. We'll go next and make sure we have our filter options set the way we like. I'm just going to look at all the traffic. So I'm going to clear that and hit go. Sorry, I think there's... Let's look at the home page. Wow, so as you can see, the majority of the data is mobile and desktop, as you can see here in the graph. And what's cool about the multiple group by is if you scroll down to the averages section, you're able to drill in for more information for one of these particular devices in this case. So under the mobile device, here were the browsers and the number of page views for each browser. Now you can also graph this above. So this is the original graph. Now this is the graph for the mobile device displaying the individual browsers, and you're actually able to choose between the different devices here. All right, and as always, we have the graph and the tabular view for each of these. And you can scroll down here and flip open another one for desktop and inspect that from here. All right, so I think that's all I had to cover with you guys today. Thanks for your time. And I'm going to pause now and check the chat and the questions and see if there's anything I can help answer for you guys. All right, so I see one question and I'll go ahead and get started with that one. Okay, can I get this custom data from the API as well? Yeah, that's a great question. As a matter of fact, there's a really easy way to see the API request that you'll need to get this data. So let me jump back over to the portal. So let's say you've built your custom graph and you'd like to know how to get this data from the API. If you go over to this hamburger menu in the right, the upper right, there's an option here to view the JSON for the API. And if you click that, that'll tell you the API endpoint and URL that you'll want to do a post to, and it'll give you the post JSON data here as well. So really nice, really simple to get started using the API as well. All right. So I think that's all we have for you guys today. thank you all for your time. And if you do have any questions, we're happy to speak with you offline. So feel free to reach out to us anytime. You can reach us at any of the emails listed here. Of course, support is support@bluetriangle.com. We're always happy to hear from you. You can also submit a request or a question in our help center, and that is at help.bluetriangle.com. For more information about Blue Triangle product training, like how to watch past sessions or how to register for upcoming ones, be sure to check out our help center. Again, that's help.bluetriangle.com. And when you're there, just click the big button for product training. All right, guys, thanks again for your time, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.